Have you ever stopped to think about what's really going on when you make a big decision? Yeah, we all like to believe we're the captain of our own ship, right? Carefully, logically, charting our course. But what if I told you there's this whole universe of hidden forces, things from your culture, your childhood, that are constantly, quietly nudging the wheel? Well, today, we're going to peel back those layers. All right, let's get right into it. Just think for a second. What was the last huge crossroads you're at? You know, was it a new job offer? Maybe a big move to another city? Or deciding if a relationship was the one? Whatever it was, it felt massive, didn't it? Like the entire weight of the world was on your shoulders. And what do? Our first instincts almost always is to treat it like a math problem. We whip out that mental spreadsheet, you know the one, pros in this column, cons in that one. And we just assume that if we stare at it long enough, the perfectly logical answer is just gonna pop out. We tell ourselves, I'm a rational person, I'm just making the best choice based on the facts. But what if that's not even close to the whole story? What if, deep down, underneath all that conscious, logical thinking, there are these powerful currents just pulling you in different directions? We're talking about psychological biases, cultural programming, even fears you don't know you have. And they're the ones really steering the ship. So let's dive in and explore exactly what those forces are. So first up, we're going to start with the biggest, broadest layer of all, our culture. It turns out, and this is wild, that where you grew up literally helps wire your internal risk compass. It actually changes the very definition of what feels dangerous to you. Check this out. A really fascinating study from the journal Risk Analysis found this huge divide. Researchers looked at financial risk and discovered that folks in Western countries, say the US or the Netherlands, they're all about probability. Their main question is, okay, what are the chances I'm going to lose money? But for people in Asian countries like Taiwan and Hong Kong, it's a totally different ballgame. They focus on magnitude. Their question is, forget the chances, if this goes south, just how bad could it get? And that right there, that's the core finding. It's not that one group is braver or more cautious than the other. No, not at all. They are literally calculating risk using a different mental formula. Think about that. That one single cultural difference means two people can look at the exact same set of facts and come to completely opposite decisions. All right, so that's the big picture of culture. Now, let's zoom in, way in, from the collective to the really personal stuff. It turns out that pretty much every ambitious decision you or I make is caught in this intense psychological tug of war between two really powerful and opposite fears. So, on one side, you've got the one we all know, the fear of failure. But really, what is that? It's the fear of being judged, right? We're worried about what everyone else is going to think. It makes us crave approval and, maybe avoid taking risks. But then you have its sneakier, quieter twin, the fear of success. And this one is all about being anxious about how our life is going to change. Because success means more responsibility, more people watching you, a much brighter spotlight. And that fear, it can actually make us sabotage ourselves without even realizing it, or make us feel like a total fraud, what people call imposter syndrome. Okay, let's go even deeper. We're going right down into the actual wiring of our brains. Your brain is trying to process millions of bits of information every single second. It can't handle all that, so what does it do? It creates these little mental shortcuts, what scientists call cognitive biases. They're super efficient for sure, but man, can they mess with our judgment without us having a clue? First on the list is something called loss aversion. Basically, the pain of losing something feels about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining that exact same thing. It's just how we're wired. Think about it. Losing a $100 bill feels way worse than finding one feels good, right? And that simple fact makes us super cautious and really biased toward just keeping things the way they are. Next up, we've got confirmation bias. This one is tricky. It's basically our brain acting like a really biased lawyer who's already decided their client is innocent. It goes out and only looks for evidence that proves what it already believes. So, if you think, hey, this investment is a great idea, you will literally, without thinking, search for articles and opinions that agree with you. And you'll just scroll right past anything that says you might be wrong. And rounding out our top three is the availability heuristic. Look, our brains can be kinda lazy. So to judge how likely something is, it just asks, how easily can I think of an example? So if you just saw a scary news story about a shark attack, your brain's going to scream, sharks are everywhere, and you'll probably overestimate the actual danger of swimming in the ocean. That one vivid, recent memory just completely bulldozes all the boring statistics. Okay, so for our final layer, we're going to the very beginning. the most foundational influence there is, our childhood. Because the patterns, the beliefs, the emotional habits we form when we're little, they don't just go away. They become the blueprint that shapes who we are, what we fear, and how we act as adults. And recent psychological research has found this incredibly clear line, like connecting the dots. It goes like this. It starts with certain parenting styles, maybe ones that are really overprotective or negative. That experience, over time, can create what psychologists call an impaired autonomy schema. That's a fancy way of saying a deep, core belief that you just can't function on your own. And that belief, which got baked in during childhood, can become a direct cause of social anxiety when you're an adult. It's a powerful, powerful link between our past and our present. So, wow, we've talked about culture, psychology, brain biases, childhood. What's the big takeaway here? Are we just puppets on a string doomed to be controlled by all these hidden forces? No, not at all. The real power isn't in trying to get rid of them. You can't. The power comes from simply seeing them, from being aware that they're there. So think of what we've just uncovered as a map. Every single big choice you make gets filtered through these 4 big lenses. You've got your culture's definition of risk, you've got your own personal tug of war between the fear of failure and the fear of success, then there are your brain's built-in shortcuts, and finally, those emotional blueprints from your childhood. Just knowing that this map exists, that's it. That's the first, most important step you can take to start navigating your life with a little more purpose. Listen, the goal here isn't to become some kind of perfectly logical robot who's free from all influence. That's impossible. The goal is just to become a more aware human being. So I'll leave you with this. Think about a choice you have to make, something that's coming up soon. Knowing everything we just talked about, all these hidden forces, how might you look at that choice just a little bit differently now?